Power or authority? Power, what is it? And how should such a concept be viewed from the point of view of the Holy Scriptures? In fact, the topic is extremely important and sometimes decisive both in human life, and in the life of society, and indeed in the spiritual sphere as well. For its sake, for the sake of power, many are ready to do literally anything. Even some people sell their souls to the devil in order to have power. Surprisingly. But the question is, how dangerous or beneficial is the presence of power in human society, and how significant is it in the spiritual sphere? First of all, what is power? Power is an opportunity to impose one's will on other people. The term has many nuances and differences in various scientific fields, from sociology to political science. Wikipedia. In short, but in principle, everything is clear. Power is the ability to influence other people, in fact, by force or authoritatively established methods. But, interestingly, without power in society, without command management, there will be no order, no progress, no security. Hence, it is important in whose hands the power is and how it is managed by those to whom it is entrusted and who gives it. It is very important. The very first, who has absolute and complete power in our mortal world. It all starts from here. Who is the master of life, and the entire structure of the universe? Who has the right to be a judge and a legislator? In this regard, I will refer to the lines of the Holy Scriptures. What does the Bible say about this? What do we contemplate around us, and what is the real state of things? For the Lord is our judge, the Lord is our lawgiver, the Lord is our king, he will save us. Isaiah 33:22. And more. There is one lawgiver, who is able to save and to destroy. Who are you to judge another? James 4:12. There is one lawgiver, who is able to save and to destroy. Power, strength, and order belong to God. That's understandable. You can disagree with something like that, you can try to oppose it, you can be indignant, but nothing will change. God is the lawgiver and judge. He will judge the universe, and he gives the right to life and well-being according to his laws. Hence the conclusion, everything that God gives and distributes to whom is a true, correct and just action. Divine authority is an incentive to perfection and prosperity for everything that exists in our reality. But, interestingly, again, many people disagree with this. And they are trying to somehow take away the power and glory that belongs only to those who deserve it. And in this regard, it makes sense to give some very necessary arguments. And warnings as well. Power is a dangerous thing if it is misunderstood and misused. So to speak, a fine line between good and evil. And strangely enough, this concerns not only us humans, but also the angels too. We know from the scriptures that there was someone who tried to appropriate a glory that was not his, and partially appropriated a power that could not belong to him. He was once a high-ranking angel. But he wanted more. How you are fallen from heaven, O Lucifer, son of the morning! How you are cut down to the ground, you who weakened the nations! For you have said in your heart, I will ascend into heaven, I will exalt my throne above the stars of God, I will also sit on the mount of the congregation on the farthest sides of the north. I will ascend above the heights of the clouds, I will be like the Most High. Isaiah 14:12-14. Power and fame are like drugs, captivating, making mad not only people, but, as we see, angels. I will highlight a few important points that you should pay attention to. First of all, it is a state in which people who misunderstand the boundaries of what is permissible, associated with the concept of power, fall. An example is pride. A very dangerous condition. After all, what is pride and how can it manifest itself? Pride is an inflated self-esteem and spiritual theft. I'll cross it out again, inflated self-esteem and spiritual theft. Who was the first to commit this sin? And that's a sin. As I have already read, the devil was once an overshadowing cherub. You were the anointed cherub who covers. I established you, you were on the holy mountain of God, you walked back and forth in the midst of fiery stones. You were perfect in your ways from the day you were created, till iniquity was found in you. By the abundance of your trading you became filled with violence within, and you sinned, therefore I cast you as a profane thing out of the mountain of God, and I destroyed you, O covering cherub, from the midst of the fiery stones. Your heart was lifted up because of your beauty, you corrupted your wisdom for the sake of your splendor, I cast you to the ground, I laid you before kings, that they might gaze at you. You defiled your sanctuaries by the multitude of your iniquities, by the iniquity of your trading, therefore I brought fire from your midst, it devoured you, and I turned you to ashes upon the earth in the sight of all who saw you. All who knew you among the peoples are astonished at you, you have become a horror, and shall be no more forever. Ezekiel 28:14-19. Your heart was lifted up because of your beauty, you corrupted your wisdom for the sake of your splendor. He tried to take more than he was allowed. You cannot take what is not given to you from above, this is the conclusion. Well, that's good. We don't fly that high. And if we transfer spiritual realities to our daily lives, are there any dangers and similar analogies here? A few examples of what the Creator gives and what sometimes people want to take away by force, believing that they can. Let's say an ordinary family. There is an order established by God. They are husband, wife, and children. A clear sequence. Not a husband from his wife, but a wife from her husband. For man is not from woman, but woman from man. Nor was man created for the woman, but woman for the man. 1 Corinthians 11:8-9. Of course, there may be exceptions when a man in the house is unable, and sometimes does not want to do anything in his family, and take care of his neighbors. But, I'm talking about a normal Christian family, where there should be an order established by God. I had to watch sad sights when the owner of the house is not the husband, but the wife. And what are the consequences of this? Strife and quarrels with relatives and friends, and completely distorted notions of priorities in life. There will be no blessing if the divine order is not restored and respected. This is an axiom. Other examples: a security guard who fancies himself a boss. An official who is infinitely dominant in his region and neglects the opinions and interests of his neighbors. A ruler who has set himself up as the arbiter of human destinies and creates absolute lawlessness in the country. Of course, there are always prerequisites for every crime and boundless arrogance. In the global sense as well. This is servility among the masses and collective idiocy among the people. I admit, I'm always surprised by people. There are so many who don't want to turn on their brains and see what's going on around them and in their lives as well. Nevertheless, the fact remains. That's the reality. Accordingly, hence the consequences. People are impoverished and dying for nothing. And who's to blame after that? The people themselves are to blame. Pride is a serious sin. Its danger also lies in the fact that this sin, is not always immediately noticeable. It seems to be sitting inside, waiting in the wings, and sometimes it doesn't even show up noticeably for the person himself. Excessive self-esteem and spiritual theft. The desire to dominate others, to impose one's thoughts and ideas, as well as to make one's own subjective judgments and judgments of other people. Power corrupts a person, absolute power corrupts a person absolutely. Unfortunately, power seekers are often found in church ministry, causing serious damage to the cause of God. This is what the Apostle John mentioned at the time. I wrote to the church, but Diotrephes, who loves to have the preeminence among them, does not receive us. Therefore, if I come, I will call to mind his deeds which he does, prating against us with malicious words. And not content with that, He himself does not receive the brethren, and forbids those who wish to, putting them out of the church. 3 John 1:9-10. Diotrephes, who loves to have the preeminence among them, does not receive us. Diotrephism is the desire for human power and glory. Such ecclesiastical despotism. Not accepting any competition or criticism. Characteristic features of the Diotrephes: he loves primacy, slanders others, expels from the church, forbids others to accept and communicate with brethren in the faith. Again, unfortunately, this phenomenon is quite common among the people of God. For some reason, many people do not notice this. Or they don't want to notice. It doesn't matter. It never leads to good things. If you want to be the first, learn to be everyone's servant. Even the disciples of Christ, at first, having not yet received the Holy Spirit in their hearts, could not understand the divine principle of standing properly before their Creator. Then he came to Capernaum. And when he was in the house he asked them, "What was it you disputed among yourselves on the road?" But they kept silent, for on the road they had disputed among themselves who would be the greatest. And he sat down, called the 12, and said to them, "If anyone desires to be first, he shall be last of all and servant of all." Mark 9:33-35. If anyone desires to be first, he shall be last of all and servant of all. But that's not always the case. Power or worldly pride is a terrible force that undermines a person from within. Actually, what prevails in the modern world is that the Lord does not like it very much and wants us not to like it either. Do not love the world or the things in the world. If anyone loves the world, the love of the Father is not in him. For all that is in the world, the lust of the flesh, the lust of the eyes, and the pride of life, is not of the Father but is of the world. And the world is passing away, and the lust of it, but he who does the will of God abides forever. 1 John 2:15-17. And the pride of life, is not of the Father but is of the world. Everyone should mind their own business, and not invade a sphere that is not given to a person from above. Power is like a drug that intoxicates a person, plunges into a state of pride and permissiveness. At the same time, it does not matter where it occurs, in politics, in everyday life, in family relationships or in the church. A person who believes in Jesus Christ must understand his place in society, and in the church, and not conform to the principles of this world. It is important to find yourself, not to try to take someone else's, but to be content with what God gives and nothing more. Be blessed.